Welcome to another edition of This Week with the President, a weekly news magazine which provides you with an in-depth look at the policies, programs, and work of Guyana's President. I'm your host, Vindis Meshur. In the highlights this week, local government elections held, President continues regional outreaches, and the father of local government remembered. Stay with us. The President and First Lady were among the first to cast their ballots at the Enterprise Primary School, Durban Backlands on March 18th. This opportunity has come after 2 decades of back and forth with legislation in the National Assembly and countrywide protest actions led by the President, who was then opposition leader. The holding of these elections was on the list of priorities for the administration, so much so that it worked to ensure that this promise was fulfilled in less than a year after taking office. Eligible Guyanese voters, many for the first time, were able to exercise this important democratic right.
Well, it's a feeling of great satisfaction that our coalition within the first year in office has been able to deliver to the Guyanese people something that they craved for the last 19 years. So I feel very happy, very satisfied that we've been able to deliver local democracy to our citizens. As you know, government is made up of 3 tiers: the central, the regional, and the municipal, and this is what we're dealing with here today. And I'm very happy that in May last year we were able to bring general and regional together, and today we'll bring in municipal.
The President said that proper functioning government systems at the central government, regional and municipal levels is the only way through which Guyanese will see the kind of development they deserve.
There's been a lot of excitement over the last 2 months particularly. It is true it is a short campaign, but there are more participants, there are more contestants. People want change, and they want to be able to have the type of municipality which can give them that quality life.
Meanwhile, the First Lady spoke specifically of the importance of women participating in these important elections, noting that it will give them a voice in their communities.
And I think women are smart enough to know that when they cast their ballot today, that they're going to have a say in their own local communities because they can speak directly to their representatives.
In the days leading up to the elections, President David Granger engaged residents at Linden, Georgetown, and New Amsterdam on the importance of exercising their franchise in the national activity that is essentially all about them.
It is a hard-working town council that you have to install. A town council that cares for every single Lindener. And that is why we've embarked on a democratic process. You know the people that you're going to be voting for.
The head of state reminded the representatives of the various constituents that they are accountable to the people, a responsibility which they must take seriously, particularly those who will be taking over the management of the capital city.
And this is Region 4. You have an RDC, a Regional Democratic Council. But you are competing for the 3rd level of government, the grassroots level. You're competing for the municipality. Without the municipalities, the RDC can't function. Without the regions, the central government can't function.
While Guyana is a middle-income developing country, the President said that throughout the country, the cycle of hereditary poverty must be broken for development to take place and for the Guyanese society to become more equal, a goal that can only be achieved through education.
I want to give the next city council some very clear ideas, very clear vision of where we are going, not only as a nation, but particularly as the capital of the nation. And my first task that I want you to fulfill as a city council is to ensure that every single child in the city goes to school. If you can't do it by yourself, I will help you. But I want children to go to school because they are the future citizens of Georgetown. The second thing I want to ensure is that when those children go to school, they are allowed to complete their education.
The President said that local government elections should not be about prejudices or self-interests, as it is important for the national good and should be seen as such.
We have to work together, no matter which party we come from.
Local government elections were last held in Guyana in 1994. It is a requirement under Article 71 of the Constitution to enable democratic local decision-making at the community level. Born in 1850 in the Amstel West Coast Demerara, James McFarlane Curry is regarded as the father of local government in British Guyana. President David Granger paid tribute to this unsung hero on the eve of local government elections at a commemoration, service and wreath-laying ceremony. The ceremony was held at the James McFarlane Curry Monument site in the Amstel village, which has been refurbished by the government.
I will do everything in my power, as defined by the Constitution, to ensure that this site becomes a part of our national heritage, a part of our national trust.
While Curry's contributions have been often overlooked, they have significantly shaped the system of governance at the local level in Guyana.
He was elected the first chairman of that conference in 1904, and he served for 20 years until he died in 1924. Norman Cameron, in his book The Evolution of the Negro, wrote of Curry's tenure as chairman of the conference, and I quote, "His annual addresses preserved his views on local government, the serious attitude which he took of the share of government entrusted to the villagers, his passionate appeals to his fellow chairmen and councillors for cooperation," I suppose something we can still do today, "and to government for fair play and a recognition of their services." In other words, Curry recognized 112 years ago that local government was a part of the governmental system. It was the first tier of government.
A visionary leader, Curry started the first local cooperative credit bank to provide small loans at concessionary rates to farmers, founded the Young Men's Christian Association in the village, and started the Village Chairman's Conference.
We are gathered here today to honor a great man. He died at the age of 74 in 1924. He bequeathed to us a rich legacy of leadership in rural communities, a legacy of Christian stewardship, especially through the Congregational Church, a legacy of organizational ability that without cell phones and transport, he was able to bring village leaders from Essequibo, Demerara, and Berbice together for that village chairman's conference every year. He had communication skills to be able to convince and persuade his colleagues. He had the ability to plan. He was a visionary, and he dedicated his life to the service of his community. He was a great guide and a worthy helmsman during an extremely difficult period in the evolution of rural Guyana.
Curry's efforts improved the lives of proprietors of the early villages by providing them with house lots and farmlands and enhanced general conditions in the village.
My name is Whitney Robertson. I am a youth facilitator of the Amstel. I am engaged in youth activities within the Amstel. Prior to this monument being re-erected, I did not know, or I was well aware that there was someone by the name of Mr. Curry. I am happy that the government has made strides to actually reintegrate this monument back again, which it would be some good sort of essence for the youths in the Amstel to actually know their history and know where they actually came from.
Well, I think it's a great pleasure when it comes to remembering Mr. Curry, as he was a big man in the village, a very important man, and he has laid the tradition, a very important man from the education point of view, and as a village chairman. That's about it that I know of him.
And I know that the church that I'm ministering, he was a member of that church way back then. And there is a plaque in Smith's Congregational Church in Brickdam
this means everything. First of all, I would say that I'm so happy that the president visited in Amstel. It was long overdue. I mean, growing up here, we always used to see that statue, not knowing the full representation, but now we got a full sense of it and the real need of people to work together for we to all achieve something. And with him coming here to, just reinforcing all this means a lot to me.
And now let's take a look inside the President's diary. On Wednesday, the head of state met with members of the Guyana Conference of the Seventh-day Adventists, who said they were ready to collaborate with the government to effect positive changes in society.
The purpose of the visit with His Excellency President David Granger by the team from the Guyana Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, it was in order to seek for opportunities for collaboration with the government, and as a responsible religious body that exists in Guyana, we wanted to ensure that we play our part in helping with the reshaping and the development of Guyana and helping to solve social issues and to use the resources of the church to help bring about that which is needed in reducing family violence and dealing with social cohesion and other areas.
The President also met with Mr. Arif Ali, publisher of Hansib Publications Limited, representatives of the Farmers Association of Guyana, and the executive officer of the President's Youth Award Republic of Guyana program, Mr. Alistair Collins, and his brother, Chairman of Habitat for Humanity, Dr. Astel Collins. That brings us to the end of this week's program. Thank you for joining me. For regular updates on the Ministry of the Presidency, go to our website, www.motp.gov.ui. Like our Facebook page, Ministry of the Presidency, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MOTP Guyana. Do have a safe and productive rest of the week. Goodbye.